Female writers have long been fighting for a place in music journalism. They are still underrepresented in a field dominated by men. Carmen Mirabal is a pioneer. She's the first woman to write about Latin music. She later went on to found Salsa magazine. I sat down with Carmen to talk about breaking barriers.
Carmen Mirabal is a seasoned professional in the communications industry with expertise spanning journalism and literature. She began writing at just 14 years old and quickly established herself as a pioneer. In the 1970s, she became the first woman to write about music, especially salsa, during a time when the field was overwhelmingly dominated by men.
The interesting thing is that your journalism career started at a very young age, like 14, right? Can you talk to me about entering the world of writing?
My father was a postal supervisor, so he took all the magazines that people drop off when they move. They need to sew it or throw it away. So he take it to me and I read it all in English, Spanish, and everything. So I said, listen, I want to write. And I remember something like this, my father buy me an Olivetti, I think that was. And he bring it to me and he make a postal for me so people can write me there. So I have my own fans. So I have about 10, 11 years. I start sending communications to all the newspapers. So when I have 14, was a big space in a newspaper named El Imparcial. And they roll me to my postal, and they say, we have a position for you if you want to come. So I only have 14, so I need to go with my father. So my father bring me, and the guy says, oh my God, how old are you? And I say, 14. But you have 2-3 years writing for us. Yeah, but you don't pay me, so you never ask my age. And then he says, but now I'm going to pay you. And they say, well, it's okay. My father can sign. My father signed, and I started working with the newspaper at 14 formally.
As she ventured into the male-dominated world of Latin music, Carmen worked alongside legends like Tito Puente and Celia Cruz, becoming the first woman to cover salsa in the 1970s. But her journey wasn't without challenges. Facing gender and racial barriers, Carmen stood firm, letting her resilience and creativity lead the way.
You have a magazine about salsa early on, before others.
When I was working with Fania Records, I got a problem with the owner because he always wants to do the things at the way that he wants to, and I have my own character. So one day, he sent me to a Fania All-Stars that was with a Gran Combo of Puerto Rico, and I wrote as a journalist that day don't rehearse very good, and they don't sound good. That Gran Combo was better. So he get mad with me, and he say, listen, I pay you, so you talk about my guys very good. And I say, wait, you pay me as a public relations, you don't pay me as a journalist. And then he get mad, and he take a lot of money, put it in my desk, and says, everybody has a price. Which is yours? He said, which is mine? Are you crazy? I'm a journalist, a real journalist, so I'm not take money. Okay, you're fired. No, before you fire me, I'm quitting. So I left. And then when I walked downstairs from Fania building, was a telephone of 10 cents in those times. So I pick up the phone and I call Joe Kane, that he was the general manager of Tico Alegre, that was the competition of Fania. And I say, listen, do you really think that I can have a job? Doing what? The same that I was doing Fania. Now, where are you? So I take a cab. And when I was there, I got a welcome. Was Tito Puente, Ismael Rivera, and Charlie Palmieri that were part of the company. They were so glad that I go to the company. I meet the owner, and I will start working in the afternoon.
And you work with some pretty big stars. I mean, some of the industry leaders. Can you describe what that was like?
It was very good because at the first day that I arrived to Fania, after he hired me, Jerry Masucci, Johnny Pacheco, that was the vice president, told me, listen, you're Latin, you're a woman, you're beautiful, so these guys, are very hard to work with. How are you gonna do it? I said, well, I'm gonna be the pimple. I'm not coming here to be going out with any leader or any singer. I come here to work. And I said, that's the attitude. So I never had a problem, even that I was a woman.
But being a woman, you had to deal with gender issues at a very, I mean, this is many, many years ago. I mean, it was not.
It's 50 years ago.
It was tough. It was tough, wasn't it? I mean, it was tough for her.
Was tough.
Describe it.
Well, it was tough because in the very beginning, when they don't know that I have a lot of temper, they always can think that they can go out so you can have sex with them and you can have a better position in the company. And that's not my way of living. So I always says, listen, I never go out with musicians. I never go out with owners, with nobody in the business. If you are dealing with that, we make business. If not, it's always another place that I can go. I always do it like that.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that's interesting is when you think about a young woman like you trying to go into a business dominated by men, and then, it's not just gender inequality. I mean, there's racism involved as well. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different layers. What is it inside of you that makes you so strong that 50 years later we can be sitting here having this conversation, that it didn't break you along the way?
My father was always after me like my grandfather. My grandfather was a guy from a place in Puerto Rico, and he had a big place to do a tobacco and coffee and all of that. And he hired me because I know how to do the tobacco, and I say that ladies talk too much, and I'm watching the radio and watching soap operas, and they make 25 tobaccos in 1 hour, so I can marry 35. So I said to my grandfather, okay, how much do you pay? He said, $1, 10 hours. Okay, I want the $1, the same than them, and then I want to be the supervisor. So people that are losing time, I'm going to take them out. If I do with my little hands of 10 years, I can do 35, they can do 35. If not, it's another people to hire. And I say, I like that. But I always was like that, because I watch other people. I grew up with other people, and you take their defects or their effects. So I always have a lot of temper since I was a child.
But can I ask you, I mean, as a teenager, I think it's very easy to be starstruck by some of the big names you've just mentioned, where you would just enter the room and be like in awe. But you had a job to do, and somehow you were able to check that, where you weren't starstruck. You would go about doing your. What do you think it was about you, or were there episodes where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm sitting right across from this huge star? I mean, did you go through some of that?
Well, I think that was emotional, but I see it as a job. I remember when Queen was in Madison Square Garden, one of the guys, Larry Hallow, have a friend of a friend, and they bring us tickets, and we saw Queen in New York, very close to. And after that, we went backstage, we met the guys, and other people will be screaming or super emotional. For me, it was normal because people from Fania at those times were very, very famous. So no difference between being from England or being from New York, because, when Larry Hallow goes to Madison Square Garden, have the same amount of people that the other guys. So I never get, that emotion. My first emotion, I'm going to tell you one was, I had a friend, I was living in Los Angeles, and he called me, listen, Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, is looking for a producer. And she doesn't know Spanish, even that her family is Mexican. And she wants to do by Phonetica an album. Are you aware? Yes. For me, that was the first time in my life that I feel very emotional, because when I was a child, I saw her program on TV, and I always do too many things that people say, she wants to be like a Wonder Woman. And then meet her was very important for me because she was like my image of what a woman need to be. Very how to say, very helpful, take care of other people. So work with her, I think that was very nice for me because she was a wonderful woman, very expressful, very warming, and her husband too, Robert Almond. And also, I got another dream to come true when I have 10, 11 years. Paul Anka went to Puerto Rico to a place named Caribe Hilton, and I was a child as my birthday. My father take me to see Paul Anka and put your head on my shoulder, Diana. Oh my God. And when another producer called me and said, Paul Anka want to sing Spanish, his best songs with the lyrics in Spanish of your artist. I was managing an Argentinian very famous artist named Luis Angel, and he make all the songs in Spanish. Oh my God, and work with Paul was something. First, that he have a lot of a love. He love people. He's very simple, a very nice guy, um, very professional. Was incredible. I said, Paul is said, lo que son las cosas. And I said, lo que son las cosas. No, it's not like that. Oh my God, was something beautiful. And Luis Angel, he was the writer of all the songs, was there, and I think that was very emotional for us.
In her latest works, Carmen Mirabal continues to push boundaries and spark reflection. Books like The Lie of the American Dream and The Myth of the American Dream challenge romanticized narratives of success, exposing the exploitation and disillusionment faced by immigrants.
Listening to you and your story, it's what a lot of people would say is the American dream. And yet we started by talking about how I can't believe you're talking to me because you could be writing another book. You've written about 35 of them. One is The Lie of the American Dream, The Myth of the American Dream. You write about these things.
Well, I write The Lie of American Dream.
Yeah. So can you talk about kind of the mythology about the American Dream and the lie of the American Dream?
Well, the thing is, when you think in American Dream, for me was American Dream because I'm American. Puerto Ricans are Americans. Also, I study. I finished my PhD. I have a lot of opportunity because of my education. But when you think in the American Dream, you're talking about some people from South America that wants to cross the border, and they pay to someone, some monies to do that, but they don't have any knowledge, they don't have education, and they don't have opportunities if they don't have that. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna be housekeepers. They're gonna be working in the farms. It's not the same American dream. But in those times, in the years that I was living in Los Angeles, that was 80s, 90s, was easy to cross the border and found a job. But after that, it's not like that. Why? Because it's a lot of people that make money with your dreams. You pay to a coyote $8,000 to cross the border, but that doesn't mean that you're going to cross it. Because if you're a beautiful woman and you have a beautiful face and body, they're going to sold you. That's my story. So my story is not against the president. My story is to tell to those Latin Americans, could be it's better to have a torta in Mexico or or some of your food in here in your country that go to cross the street and go there Tijuana to San Diego, that is only one street, and somebody you never go on. Why? Because men are working for the narco traffics. Okay, they put them to work in farms, and the ladies, they're prostitutes. My story is a story that when I was a journalist, I worked for an important channel in Los Angeles, and I was a few days with my cameraman with no documents to see what's going on there. And the only thing that I saw when I was living with those ladies is 50, 60 ladies in the floor, with 18 hours of work, doing hard labor work. But when they are beautiful, they sold them, you know, as slaves, as drug or sex trafficking. And that was at the end of the 90s. Now it's worse. Uh, I have those stories, and when I returned to the channel, the person that was in charge, he said, "Oh, that's not important. This is against the police. This is against life." And he put the 3/4 uh, video that was in those times 3/4, and he put it in erase. And I said, "Listen, I have a child of 3 years. I risked my life being undocumented, and now you erase a story. I have ladies that were violated, sodomized, and you're telling me that is not a good story? That's a human being." And I said, "Nah, it's not important for the channel." So what happened when I moved to live in Argentina and lay in Dominican Republic, and now that I live in Colombia, I say people getting desperate to make $5,000 or $8,000 to pay for a coyote, but they don't know that they're gonna cross the border, because I know very bad stories that people that are living in Singapore as prostitutes. I have a friend that she paid $10,000 for her daughter, that she has 17 years, and she never saw her. She's in Singapore. Takes her 15 years to find her. And that's the stories that I told to people. Be careful if you cross the street. Other people, when they are not beauty or they are not young, they kill them and sold their parts. Okay? So it's a lot of people that doing business with your life. I know a lot of people that never returned from United States. So it's not it's a big problem that people still thinking that the American dream is there. No. I spoke to a Colombian guy from Bogota the other day. He says, "No, I'm going there, and I'm going to San Andres, and then I go there, and I go there, blah, 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 $10,000, and I'm going to be making $25 the hour." You nuts? I have a PhD, and the university pay me $40 the hour. What are you talking about? How are you going to make with no education $25? No, because I have a friend that he told me that I can work in a farm. Are you crazy? For working a farm, they pay you $1, $2, and you live with 50 guys in a floor. Okay, and the shower that you're gonna take is 2 times at the week with a hose like the one that you use in the jails. What are you talking about? And say, no, you are crazy. Okay, I'm crazy. What do you think? I have my Social Security. I have a few properties, and I live more comfortable in Bogota, because when you change dollar for pesos, you have a better quality of life. That's my dream now. So what you were talking about? You're going to my country, you're going to the United States to do what? You have 5th grade. What do you think that you can do in the United States? No Spanish, because it's not good Spanish. You have no good English. And why are you going to wait to make $25 the hour with 5th grade? And sometimes people insult your intelligence.
Yeah.
Because they want to know more about of the things you see every day. I hate when people tell me, "No, I'm going back to the American dream, and I'm going to marry somebody that make me the papers." That's a stupid thing.
Let me ask one final question. When I listen to your stories, you start out at a very young age, reporter, journalist, writing, and then you segue into doing public relations. You're involved in the record industry, producer. I mean, it just seems like the keys in your life, resilience, this capacity to reinvent yourself. How would you describe yourself?
As a person, as you just said, I always see, I can see I can see tomorrow and I say, okay, the record business is going down, so I need to reinvent myself. So I moved to other side. So when I have my own factory of doing 45 LP cassettes and CDs. One day, a guy called me that he wanna buy it, and I say it's not in sale. And I say, okay, you're gonna remember this day. 3 days after that, that guy put my manufacturing company on fire. So I need to start all over. And then I says, well, after all the record business is a little bit go down, so let me see what I'm gonna do now. And I move, and I still moving. When I see that I was writing and Borders get broke, Barnes and Noble went in bankruptcy, and I say, oh my God, there's no distribution companies for the books, so I make my own company. I do sin papeles sin tinta.com. That means no paper, no how you say tinta in English? Think, how you say? Ink, no ink. It's no paper, no ink. And then I do a virtual. So I have my own company, my own library in virtual, and I have my 35 books and other people's books. So why? Because I saw that it's very difficult to publish. A book like this, 625, 25 pages, is expensive by the paper. But then you need to give the 45% or 50% to a distribution company. And then they say, oh my God, 4 years writing this book to make how much of money? How much I'm going to do? So it's better to have it in no paper, no ink.com in Spanish. And then you can buy it less. Why? Because it's easier to carry. This is a big one, so you can carry it in your tablet. You can carry it in your smartphone. And I reinvented myself. And then I was here in Bogota, and a friend told me, you got good stories. Why you don't make a movie? So I do 2 scripts, and I'm negotiating to make movies of my book. So you always need to look what is going on, because, getting old and everybody's going down there, that's the only thing that you have sure. Be old and get and go to death. So you need to reinvent yourself to don't be in backwards.
Thank you.
Thank you.